Hey guys, it's Friday and Nvidia stock continues to dominate. And as you guys know, this is my number one semiconductor AI stock. On today's episode, I want to take a closer look at some amazing news that we have seen in the past few days for Nvidia, and more importantly, a new price target announced this morning, and also some other news that I haven't really covered this week. So I do want to say before we go any further, thank you guys for the support. This has been an amazing week for my channel. So thank you guys so much. And for those that are not familiar, my name's Jose Najarro, and I spend way too much time reading about semiconductors and AI. And thanks to that, my master's in electrical engineering and my experience working at some various innovative companies, I believe I have created the number one semiconductor podcast for investors. So let's get started with today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so we can see right now Nvidia's up 4.1%, sitting at $656. We can see in the past year, the stock is up roughly 202%. In the past 5 days, the stock is up 7%. And there's a lot of bullish news, in my opinion, really impacting Nvidia right now. First is just the overall analyst covering the stock. Right now, we did see that a Bank of America analyst raised the firm's price target for Nvidia to $800 from $700 on Friday. Nvidia is expected to report earnings on February 21st, and you guys know this is going to be the best place to hear about it, as I will cover both the bearish and bullish sentiments that we are seeing from the earnings result. Now, this week has also been a week of big tech earnings, and that alone, in my opinion, has been bullish for Nvidia. I've done plenty of videos on these before, so I'm just going to do a very quick overview on them. More importantly, on capex, let's start off with Meta. Meta did anticipate that the full year of 2024 capital expenditure will be roughly 30 to 37 billion. That was a 2 billion increase on the high end, as they continue to expect to invest in servers, including both AI and non-AI hardware. So obviously bullish for Nvidia. And while they did not provide guidance for beyond 2024, they did mention that their ambitions and long-term AI research and product development will require growing infrastructure investments beyond this year. So this overall just says we're going to continue to invest in AI hardware, which is bullish, obviously, for Nvidia. Now, if we take a closer look at Microsoft did mention that they expect capital expenditure to increase materially on a sequential basis, driven by investments in cloud and AI infrastructure. So we got another green flag from Microsoft. Alphabet did mention that in 2024, they expect investments in capex will be notably larger than in 2023, as they continue to invest in applications of AI. So these are three big tech giants. I honestly didn't look at Amazon yet. I'll probably be doing a video on that later this weekend. But at least from these three big tech giants, we can see that overall, right now, companies are still investing in AI hardware. And for at least 2024, that sentiment is going to continue. Now, some other piece of news that's coming out very recently is there are reports that Nvidia CEO is really talking about this sovereign AI, and that's pretty much where we're seeing a new form of AI customers, and that's independent countries, as countries need to develop their own AI solutions, as AI in one country might not work necessarily for another. And luckily for those that have been following this channel, I actually did a video on this on December of 2023, so almost over a month and a half ago, where I talked about this. And we can see here on November 17th that Nvidia CEO mentions that AI to see a major second wave, and that is sovereign AI, as countries have a recognition that they need to build their own AI solutions. And we're also seeing the adoption of AI in different industries as generative AI spreads throughout the world. And we did hear about this again in September 8th of 2023, where a big player in India is building a huge AI infrastructure for their country needs. And I mean, India is one of the most diverse countries with the most diverse amount of languages. So you can see how a large language model or some form of AI solution that is built in North America would probably not benefit India to some extent. So we are seeing this development of countries continue to grow. And I do believe we we are still in early stages of this, and this is something that a lot of investors are finally getting a whiff on. But if you've been following this channel, it's something we've known for a long time. Now, taking a closer look at some recent news, yesterday we have heard reports that Nvidia is readying their H20 AI GPU for the Chinese market. And for those that are not familiar, we did have some United States government regulations affect Nvidia's products that are being shipped. Normally sales in China for the data center are approximately 20 to 25% of total revenue. But they did expect, because of the regulations, that the sales of these destinations will decline significantly in the fourth quarter, though they believe that they will be more than offset by the strong growth in other regions. So Nvidia is going to be losing out in China revenue for a while, but luckily, thanks to the overall demand globally, it's nothing investors should be worried about. But the company did mention that they're working with the government to create these great products that are meant to be shipped to China and be okay with the US regulations. And one of those chips is the H20. So the H20 is expected to start shipping at the end of the first quarter of 2024, and for more volume production expected in the second quarter of 2024. These H20s are being shipped at a lower price than the H800, which is expected since it is a weaker chip. But one thing that we are noticing is there is now competition from Huawei here in the AI market. While the new chip that Nvidia has might have less performance per individual chip than the Huawei chip, the thing that Nvidia does have is the ability to interconnect and connect numerous amounts of chips together. And that's very important for AI development. So I do believe while Nvidia does have kind of, they're getting held back in certain markets, their overall technology is still going to allow them to be very competitive to those other domestic countries, companies over there in China. So I do believe Nvidia will eventually regain some, maybe not all, but some amount of revenue coming in from China. Now, there is an interesting report that has been showing up in a lot of news places that Nvidia expands their advanced packaging supply chain with Intel. And for those that are not familiar, the H100 and all these AI chips need some form of advanced packaging. And unfortunately, TSMC does not have enough capacity for this advanced packaging. So Nvidia has been looking for ways to kind of improve their supply chain. TSMC is continuously improving it, but even with them improving it, it's not enough. So there are reports that Nvidia is going to go to Intel to increase that. And that's something interesting. They do mention that it's about an extra 5,000 units in capacity per month, but they really didn't talk about if for what GPU this is going to be. Is it going to be for the H100? Is it going to be for the A100? Is it going to be for the Nvidia uh, chips that are meant to go to China? We don't really know where. So we're going to have to really listen to either future remarks from Intel or from Nvidia of if they are improving more capacity and having this partnership with Intel. But if you have been following this channel, we do know that Intel, with their foundry business, they have been mentioning that they are seeing strong advancements in their advanced packaging business. And they, during this quarter that they just announced, they captured 3 additional advanced packaging design, bringing them to a total of 5 in 2023, with majority of revenue starting in 2025. So I want to say, if these reports are true, it does seem like, because of what Intel has mentioned, that this revenue or these chips aren't going to be shipped out for some time. So take of this one with a grain of salt. I'm kind of excited, but I'm not too excited, because it could just be rumors. And if it's not rumors, it's something that won't happen right away, because we can see from Intel, it's something that might not start until late 2024 or early 2025. Now, a few other things I want to take a closer look at. Nvidia's H100 costs 4 times more than AMD's competing MI300X, where Nvidia's GPU, and obviously we don't know the prices are a bit different. They peaked at $40,000 and based on reports, but now they might have actually gone lower. We've seen reports of 25,000, of even $30,000. That's not the point I'm going to try to make with this report. What we're seeing is AMD's chips are actually a lot cheaper, roughly 10 to 15,000 a piece. And I do believe AMD needs to do this, one, because their product might be inferior, but two, they need to be able to grab some market share and get incentives for those big cloud server providers to purchase the chips. At the end of the day, all these prices of these chips vary with various things. For example, how many are you buying? How quickly do you need them? Are you going to make another order after that? So all that determines the obvious pricing. So while it might seem like an AMD's chip is way cheaper, there might be scenarios where Nvidia's chip on average might be selling for 25,000, and it's not that huge of a difference when you start to look now at performance and price and everything else. So overall, Nvidia is dominating the market. I do believe this is going to have an amazing quarter. At the end of the day, though, I always believe that the market is there to humble us, and sometimes gives us opportunities for those that are patient. So while I am extremely bullish in Nvidia, I'm always prepared for the worst, and I do believe there might be times where you might see overcorrection on the stock price. Regardless, on the long term, I'm very, very bullish in this company. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.